In this video, we're gonna talk about AWS networking. These are just the basics. We will be introducing instances and test the web applications. Then we will provision AWS or Elastic Load Balancer. And upon creation of this application load balancer, we will associate VPC or the virtual private cloud, security groups, target gateways, and many more. And for those who are new to this channel, welcome. I am your host, name is Dean Armada, and I'm the Cloud and Data Center. Rockstar! And on this channel, we talk about tech careers and certifications, trivia and tutorials in cybersecurity, trivia and tutorials in cloud and data center, and my journey as an IT instructor. So feel free to check out the rest of the channel and consider subscribing. I'm here now in our AWS console home, and we're gonna access our EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute 2. And there are various ways to access and see the details of our EC2 instance. The first one is we'll just simply click this EC2 icon or link from our console home, or we can go to services, and under services there is compute, and under compute there is an EC2 option. So I will just click this. There. So as you can see, here are some of the details of our resources. So there is one instance running, and we also have one volumes. What else? This is our zones. Our region is US West Oregon, and here are the available regions in this, these are the available zones in this region. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we will click the instances, under instances. So I'll click this, and there is already one instance created and running. The name is web application, and this is the instance ID. The state is again running. The instance type is T3 micro, and here is the available zones. But if you want to see the instance detail, all you need to do is click this tick box, and down here you will see some of the other details that is already presented, some such as instance ID. Okay, and the VPC is also specified here somewhere. Where's the VPC? Anyway, so here you will see public IP address version 4, private IP version 4, and we also have the private DNS as well as the public DNS. And this is the VPC ID that is associated to this specific instance. And there are many more, such as MIID, which is the machine instance, and what else? MI stands for Amazon Machine Image, which is basically the image that runs on this instance. We also have virtualization details, such as virtualization types, vCPU, and many others. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna test this application running in this instance. All we need to do is click this link under the public IP version 4 DNS, and as I click this, it will open a new tab, and this is what will verify the application running in this instance. But this may not run because the link is for HTTPS. Our application only runs in HTTP. So what we're gonna do in a bit is we will just convert this HTTPS URL to HTTP. So while waiting, let's check other information we have. We have default tenancy, reservation, and all right. We also have a security group that is associated to this instance. It's called web security. Okay. Now let's go back to our application. So it's not running. What I'm gonna do is I will just delete the S, okay, because this is again only running in HTTP application without the S. It's not secure, but that's okay because this is only for testing environment. All right, there you go. So this is the application employee directory app. Okay, and if I click configuration under administration, it gives us more detail, such as this applications in AWS, or this instance running in AWS also runs the services DynamoDB, S3 Access, and the S3 bucket link is here. What else? The region is US West 2, and the availability zone for this specific application is using US West dash 2A. Okay, and this is the instance ID. Next, we're gonna create our load balancer. So in AWS, we call this ELB, or Elastic Load Balancer. And so we're here in the first tab. What we need to do is we need to click load balancers under load balancing. So let me click this. And as you can see, there are still no load balancers created. So next is I'm gonna click create load balancer, and it shows us three options. We have application, network, and gateway load balancer. But since our application runs in HTTP or and HTTPS, we will be selecting application load balancer. Again, application load balancer is for web-based application. So I will just click this create under application load balancer, and look, we have a form that we need to fill up. Okay, so load balancer name, I will just use web application ELB name. Okay, scheme IP address, we'll just leave it default. The network map here, we will be selecting lab VPC with a network range of 10.0.0.0/16. So there is 172.31.0.0/16 here. This is the default VPC. We will not use this. Again, we're gonna use lab VPC, and let's look at the ID. It starts with 0250. Okay, so I will be selecting this. Now, as I select the VPC, it gives us AZ, or availability zone. So we will be selecting this two availability zone. So this two availability zone has an associated subnet. So for US West 2A, we have the public subnet 1. And for the US West 2B, we have the public subnet 2. So this will be selected. Okay, and now for the security group. Now for the security group, we will be creating a new one. So if I click these, we have two security groups. One is web security group, which is already used and associated by our instance, and we have the default. But we want to create a new one, so we need to click create new security group, and this will open a new tab. There you go. For the security group, we will just simply name it load balancer-sg, and we will add the description load balancer security group for employee directory application. Now for the VPC, please be very careful on this. The VPC should match the VPC ID of our instance, okay, and our ELB. So the VPC of our ELB is lab VPC. Okay, I already highlighted this. It starts with 0250, the ID, the VPC ID, and the network is 10.0.0.0/16. Okay, so I will select this, okay, the lab VPC instance. Now for the inbound rules, we will add a new rule. Okay, since this is a web application, we will be accepting only web traffic, specifically to HTTP only. Okay, so HTTP, not HTTPS. And the source is, I will just select any IP version 4. So basically, all IP version 4 traffic will be accepted. Okay, I'm gonna click create security group now. There you go. So it has created a security group. Okay, and the name is load balancer-sg. Now, if we go back to the first tab, where this is where we are currently creating our ELB, our load balancer, look at this. If I select security group, or the select box under security groups, we still see the two security group options. Okay, where is the newly created security group? Well, it hasn't shown yet. If we want to see the newly created security group, all we need to do is click this refresh icon. Okay, let's click refresh icon and click this select box again. Look at that! We have now our newly created security group with the name of load balancer.sg. So we're gonna select these there. Okay, and I will also delete the default SG or the default security group because we will not be needing this. Next, under listeners and routing. Now, this listener here, this is the port that is listened on front of the load balancer. So if you are familiar with F5, this is analogous to the virtual server listener. Without IP address, just virtual server on the port side. Now this target group, this is also related to F5. This is the pool, okay, or this is analogous to pool, where you add pool members, also known as servers. Now, since we still don't have target group, we need to create one. So I'm gonna click create target group. This will open a new tab, okay, and we'll choose the target type, instance. The port or the protocol in the port is 80. The VPC it automatically selected lab VPC with a network of 10.0.0.0/16. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're gonna name this target group. Okay, there you go. We're gonna add target group. What else? I will leave the protocol version. Okay, the health check protocols. I need to modify this. So the healthy threshold, I'm gonna select 2. For unhealthy, 5. The timeout will be 30. For the interval will be 40. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select next so that we can add the instance. So this is the instance that we have verified that exists in our AWS account. So we will be adding this so that the load balancer will be able to forward the traffic to this specific server, this specific instance. Okay, so I will select these. Okay, so this is the instance. Now for F5, this is considered as the pool member and it's listening on port 80. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click include as pending below. So this instance will be added here. Okay, the target groups. There, as you can see, it's now added. Okay, this is the server listening on port 80. The state is running. Next is I'm gonna click create target group. Okay, so we have now a target group. Going back to our load balancer creation, is still not available, the created target group, but all we need to do is click refresh and look at that, the target group is now available and this is what we will select. Okay, all right, we don't need to add more of these. I think there you go, we are almost done. Okay, this is the summary of our ELB configuration. We have the basic configuration, the security group, the network mapping, the VPC, and the availability zone, and our target group. Okay, lastly, I just need to click create load balancer. And as you can see, our load balancer has been created. Let's verify. I'm gonna click view load balancer. And as you can see, our load balancer is still in the state of provisioning. Okay, in a matter of seconds, this application ELB will now be created. All right, so let's wait a little and then I'm gonna click this refresh and we're gonna test if we can access the application through this application load balancer. Let me hit refresh. Okay, the state is still provisioning, so let's wait more. Okay, I will hit another refresh. Still provisioning. All right, let me hit another refresh. There you go. The state is active. Now we're gonna test the actual application. So first I'm gonna click the name of the load balancer and look at this. There is a DNS name here. This is the actual URL for us to test the load balancer and the application. So I will just simply copy and paste. Okay, and it should get the same result of our EC2 testing. The only difference is the traffic, the destination URL. In our EC2, this is the URL that we used. Okay, EC2, and this URL is based on the public IP version 4 address. Okay, and for the ELB, it's actually based on the ELB name. Okay, so if you look at the ELB name is Web Application ELB, and this is our URL, and of course the ID. Now there you go. We are getting the same application. If you click configuration under administration, if you look and compare, it's almost the same. So what is the major difference? The major difference is how it load balance the targets, okay, the traffic. And that's how we create AWS ELB, or Elastic Load Balancer. We are not done yet. In the next video, we will create auto scaling group, and we will use it with the application load balancer we created. I will see you in the next video.